Good evening and welcome to this telecast of Just the News. I'm Faye. Let's get straight to it. There's good news on the COVID numbers front. India has reported less than 1 lakh cases, 1 lakh new cases in the last 24 hours. We've reported, according to the Health Ministry, 86,498 new cases, 2,123 deaths in the last 24 hours. The daily positivity rate stands at a little over 4.5%, and we've been less than 10% for a fortnight now, which is good news. The Union Health Ministry has said there's been a sharp decline in cases, almost 79% down compared to where we were in the peak on the 7th of May. India has administered 23.61 crore vaccine doses so far. That's a little over 3.3% of our population that has been completely vaccinated. Now, following the Prime Minister's announcement yesterday of the new vaccine policy, the central government has now released new guidelines. The guidelines are in line with what the Prime Minister said. Basically, the central government will now take responsibility to source 75% of the vaccine doses from manufacturers directly, and that includes the 25% that was being sourced by the state governments up till now. These vaccines will be given completely free of cost to state governments to administer them to citizens, also free of cost. Private hospitals will be allowed to buy the 25% quota directly from manufacturers, although there will be a cap on how much they can charge. They will not be allowed to charge any more than 150 rupees per dose as a service charge. According to the new guidelines, vaccines will be allocated to state governments depending on population, disease burden, and the progress of their vaccination drive. Any wastage of vaccines will negatively affect their allocation. These new rules will be implemented on the 21st of June. According to the Health Ministry, more information on vaccines, a total of 44 crore vaccine doses have been ordered now from Bharat Biotech and from obviously the Serum Institute of India. So 25 crore doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca Covishield and 19 crore doses of Covaxin will be available by December this year. An additional 30% of advance payment for procurement of both vaccines have been released to the manufacturers, that's the Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech. According to a report in NDTV, Agra's Paras Hospital, a private hospital in Uttar Pradesh, is under the scanner because of a viral video in which the owner of the hospital can be heard talking about conducting what he calls a mock drill or an experiment to identify critical patients by cutting off their oxygen for 5 minutes. Now, the alleged incident apparently took place on the 26th or the 27th of April, at the time when the state was facing a huge shortage of oxygen. The Agra administration has ordered an investigation into the matter and has ordered the seizure of the hospital. The patients will be shifted to another facility for now. In the viral video, the hospital owner can be heard saying, and I quote, "We are told that even the chief minister cannot get oxygen, so start discharging patients. We've started counseling families, but some are willing to listen and others said they will not leave. I said, okay, let's do a mock drill. We will find out who will die and who will survive." So we did one at 7 a.m. The mock drill was done. No one knew. We identified 22 patients. We realized they would die if their oxygen was cut off. This was done for 5 minutes. They started turning blue. In a statement made to the media, the Agra District Magistrate Prabhu N. Singh claimed that no deaths occurred due to a shortage of oxygen on the day the alleged video was recorded. He, however, said that they filed a case against those in the hospital under the Epidemic Diseases Act, and the police will conduct an investigation. The hospital is being sealed and all 55 patients have been shifted out. States have announced some changes in their COVID restrictions. Kerala has extended its lockdown until the 16th of June. There will be complete lockdowns on the 12th and 13th, which is the weekends. From the 17th of June, government offices will be allowed to function with 50% of their staff. In Puducherry, the lockdown has now been extended till the 14th of June, although shops, commercial businesses, establishments will be able to function from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. without air conditioning. Vegetable and fruit shops will function from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. In other news, away from COVID right now, Twitter has told the Ministry of IT that it is committed to complying with all the clauses in the intermediary guidelines and asked for a week's time, according to the Hindustan Times. Twitter, in a statement on Monday, said the company is making every effort to comply with the new guidelines while continuing a constructive dialogue with the government. Twitter has been and remains deeply committed to India and serving the vital public conversation taking place on the service, a Twitter spokesperson said. Now, this comes after the government on Sunday said that Twitter could face unintended consequences that can involve it losing its legal protection as an intermediary from criminal liability if it doesn't comply with the new rules that, remember, the government brought about in February this year. New IT rules on OTT platforms, on digital news, and on intermediaries like Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, where one of the requirements is that they appoint a grievance officer, a nodal officer, and a chief compliance officer. And the other one is that they track the origin of any message when asked to do so by the government or by a court. On to the world of business right now. Although I must warn you, this is less a business and economy story. Sounds more like something you would watch on one of your OTT platforms as a new show. Mehul Choksi, one of the main accused in the 14,000 crore PNB scam, has alleged that he was kidnapped from Antigua by agents of the Indian government in an attempt to bring him back to India illegally. Now, just to jog your memory, when the scam, the PNB bank scam, was discovered, Mehul Choksi had fled India. He then moved to Antigua, which is an island country where he had purchased citizenship, and he's lived there ever since. He went missing some time ago, and his family surprisingly filed a police complaint for a missing person because they didn't know where to find him. After a manhunt was started, he was discovered in a neighboring country called Dominica, where the Dominican authorities said that he had entered the country illegally on a boat, and they have held him in custody ever since. Now, Mehul Choksi's team of lawyers has filed a police complaint in Antigua alleging that he was kidnapped by Indian agents from Antigua and taken to Dominica. Now, according to the complaint filed with the Antiguan police by Choksi and quoted in the Indian Express, he claims he had gone to meet a woman called Barbara Jabarika at her home, whom he's known for the last 1 year, where he was abducted, blindfolded, and taken to the back of the house and put on a boat. He also alleges that Ms. Jabarika was hand in glove with his abductors. He says he was later shifted to a much larger boat. His mask was removed. He quotes, and I'm quoting his complaint, "They appeared to be 2 Indians on board and 3 persons of Caribbean descent. From the way they conducted themselves, the Indian men seemed highly experienced mercenaries or contractors hired specifically for the purpose of detaining and abducting me in such a brutal and unlawful manner." End quote. He alleged that one of the Indians on board told him that they'd been keeping a watch on him for the last 1 year. They knew intimate details of my household, he says, where I would walk, what my favorite restaurants were. They told him that he was being brought to a special location where he would be interviewed by a high-ranking Indian politician, and his citizenship would be fixed in Dominica and he would be repatriated to India. He also claims he was on the boat for 17 hours, and one Narinder Singh identified himself as the chief agent in this case. He began to pressurize me to say I had cooperated with my captors and had accompanied them on my own free will. Upon hearing me resist, he threatened physical harm to me and my family and said that I should leave my friendship with Miss Barbara Jabarika out of the picture because it would lead to public scandal and grievous hurt to my wife. End quote. Choksi claimed that this operation was to send him back to India, and it did not go as planned, and the people on the boat got more and more harrowed and panicked when they started getting radio messages as to why the operation was not complete. He was then handed over to the Dominican authorities, the Coast Guard, and those on the boat did not follow him. Choksi has been in judicial custody in Dominica since then. In the meantime, the Indian government has engaged the services of Solicitor Harish Salve to fight the case to bring Mehul Choksi back to India. News coming in right now from across the world. Moderna has said on Monday that it has submitted applications to the European Union and Canadian health regulators to seek authorization to vaccinate adolescents. The company also plans to file for emergency use with the US FDA to vaccinate those between the ages of 12 to 17. Remember, Pfizer is already administering vaccinations to adolescents in America. A top WHO official has said that WHO cannot compel China to divulge any more data of the origin of COVID, while adding that it will propose studies needed to take the understanding of where the virus emerged from to the next level. On being asked by a reporter on how the WHO will compel China to be more open, official Mike Ryan said the WHO doesn't have the power to compel anyone in this regard. This comes after constant debates on the theory that COVID leaked from a lab in Wuhan. The hypothesis is also fueled by former US President Donald Trump. China has so far refuted those claims. Onto the world of sports right now. Rafael Nadal has reached the French Open quarterfinals for the 15th time after he won against Italy's Yannick Sinner. Nadal will now play against Spain's Djokovic. In the meantime, Naomi Osaka, who had withdrawn from the French Open because she refused to take part in the mandatory news press conferences after each match because she said that they were detrimental to her mental health, has now also decided to pull out of next week's Berlin Women Tennis Association 500 tournament. And a piece of positive news before we let you go for the day. Weyan village in Bandipora district of Jammu and Kashmir has become the first village in India to vaccinate everybody above the age of 18. According to a report in the Times of India, Dr. Bashir Ahmed Khan, the Chief Medical Officer of Bandipora, has said that it is a village of nomads with no internet access. And so health officials decided to make the difficult journey to this North Kashmir village and save precious lives. There's no well-defined route and it's a very dangerous trek, but we didn't rest until every last eligible person got the vaccine dose. In total, there are 362 residents above the age of 18 who have been vaccinated in this village. That brings us to the end of the bulletin. Thank you so much for watching the news bulletin every day. It gives us encouragement to read your comments. So give us a thumbs up if you find this useful. And if you feel that there is in any way that we can improve this broadcast, do let us know. Thank you for watching. Good night.